Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. The first ever Star Citizen server meshing playtest with actual backers and players was conducted last night, so let us check out all the details. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Thank you so much for the support, it is truly appreciated. So, last night was a very significant moment for Star Citizen's development, as it was the first ever static server meshing test with the Evocati on the Tech Preview channel. Now, as I'm sure you're all aware, this is a huge moment in Star Citizen's history and a great sign that things are progressing well. And before I get to the details, this doesn't mean that we are getting static server meshing and Alpha 4.0 with Pyro any earlier than the current CIG estimate of summertime this year. But it is still amazing news nonetheless, now that the final pieces of Cortec are progressing well, and as you will hear, the results of the test sound to be pretty positive. So in the patch notes, which I will link below, it says we have a very special one for you today that will help change the Star Citizen universe going forward with static server meshing. In this first in a long series of meshing playtests, noticed it states long, today's build will consist of shards with two servers statically meshed with one running Stanton and the other running the Pyro system. You will be able to choose which location to go into, although they do ask that players mix between them and don't just all go to Pyro so that they can gather the necessary data, with the whole server meshing team around to monitor and continue iterating and improving the tech. Now, this first test patch was only for a 4-hour duration, and each server had 100 player capacity along with the server crash recovery system running as well. So basically 100 players for Stanton and 100 players in Pyro, but both the star systems are part of the same mesh connected to the replication layer as well. Now, for jump gates, they were not enabled for this test, which, although they were enabled, but it sounds like it is only due to a bug that would literally crash everyone's game if anyone tried to use them. So it sounds like that once this bug is fixed, they'll be able to actually enable the jump gates with the ability for players to jump from one system to the next. As it does say that travel between systems will be through jump gates only, with players potentially having trouble finding their way back, as the jump gates in Pyro are hard to find. Again though, this initial test, the Evocati are asked not to use the jump gates as it will crash the game. But this does mean that the Evocati players will be locked to the system that they choose for this initial test. Now, it was also mentioned that the results look quite good, as they say the Evos saw very few crashes overall, and one Evocati went the whole test without a single 30k. But apparently, Salty Mike, who is an Evocati, did suffer a 30k, and the server recovered and was back up and running in around 2 minutes. Now, this is a great indication as to how long the server crash recovery is taking when Cloud Imperium are not collecting data at the same time. They often do like a data gathering dump error report whenever someone crashes or suffers a 30k. It looks like that's been turned off, and they are just allowing the server to recover. Hopefully they can continue to further optimize it to the point where it is literally seconds and you are back in playing again rather than even 2 minutes. But that was the latest information about the very first server meshing test for Star Citizen with players. I got chills when I first read about this planned test last night, and the results so far seem to be great. Thankfully, now the Evocati are allowed to talk about their experience with no worry of technically breaking their NDA. They're just not allowed to show any footage or images of the test. So if you are an Evocati, please feel free to let us all know in the comments about how the test went for you. I'm sure we would all love to find out. But this is amazing news to see, and I am so excited to see this year progress with 3.23 on the horizon. Again, don't expect static server meshing to release in 3.23. As it states in the patch notes, this is the first in a long series of meshing playtests. They said summer 2024 for 4.0, and that is still likely going to be the earliest we will see it, but of course we will see and hear about many more of these tests as they continue on. And releasing the Evocati patch notes and allowing the Evocati to talk about their experience was a great move for keeping players not just informed, but excited about Star Citizen and its future. It has been a wild 11 years for myself following Star Citizen, and I am so happy to see that this core tech is finally coming along. Hopefully we can see many more of these server meshing tests on the Tech Preview channel, We are still awaiting the replication layer releasing to the live build. I'm still assuming that they're going to release that first to the live servers and then continue to conduct tests on the tech preview of the server meshing stuff with jump gates and all that kind of stuff, rather than hold on to the splitting of the replication layer until 4.0. That is my opinion, I don't know, but that's the impression I get, as obviously the replication layer card is still on the 323 column. So as far as I'm aware, they are still intending to separate the replication layer in 323, or being well, it could obviously go a bit longer like we have seen with 321 and 322, but hopefully we can see that come along any day now, which will certainly improve the stability and the smoothness of Star Citizen as it is today. And with the test only lasting 4 hours, it has now ended, and the server meshing team will most likely be taking all of the data that they gathered and working to improve any issues. And hopefully they can fix the bug with jump gates so that the Evocati can actually get in and travel through a jump point from one system to the next. And I did read one comment from one of the Evocati in the public test notes saying that the patch is working great and that the crash recovery worked perfectly. So really hoping that this can continue on at the rate that it's going without too many issues. Again, this isn't going to be like 3.18 because the database is a completely separate thing that has very unique issues compared to replication layer and server meshing. Not to say we won't see issues pop up with this kind of tech, but most of the legwork and the vast majority of issues came from the database issues. So let us hope that things continue on smoothly and they can start rolling this out quick. But with that said, I'll be sure to try and keep you all informed as to how things are going with these server meshing tests. Hopefully we get information soon about the replication layer releasing to the live servers in maybe 323, it sounds. And if you do appreciate my videos, please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. Also, come and hang out with us over at twitch.tv/SuperMacBrother. You are all more than welcome over there. I will be live later this afternoon. The link is below. And we will be chatting more about this 100%, hopefully hearing from some Evocati. As I say, they are now allowed to talk about it without breaking the NDA. So hopefully we have some in chat and they can tell us what their experience was like. But also, we're likely going to be just playing a little bit of Star Citizen as well. Also, do hit that thumbs up if you don't mind. It does do the channel a big favour, and tick that notification bell if you'd like to be notified when my videos go live. Again, a massive thank you to my patrons and channel members. Cannot do this without you guys, so thank you so much for the support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.